What a perfectly good time travel run. Let's see what is new for school. Apparently my Apple Watch says there's a new assignment in history class. Apparently I have to frickin' do a project on the history of Africa. Oh boy. The only problem is my computers are in repair because Axel decided to use them as toaster ovens. AKA, he broke them. Let's see. What do we got? Oh, I just realized I could just use the TARDIS because the TARDIS actually can time travel. That's a good idea. So this is the first pyramid that Egypt constructed back in the ancient Egypt days. And while it's unknown how they constructed the pyramids. What we do know is that these pyramids are actually still standing to this day. So whatever method they use to keep the pyramids up is really holding up pretty well modern day. Surprisingly. I'm honestly shocked that humans were able to preserve the pyramids as much as they did. So, yeah. Alright, that's the first line of the project done. I'm also just restating it in voice because I also might end up making a vlog out of this time travel journey. So yeah. All right. Let's get back into the time. Let's get back into the time stream so we can do more sections of this. All right. So this is where the Kingdom of Kush resides. This is like pretty much one of the towns that it had. And the Kingdom of Kush is important when mentioning ancient Egypt too, because the Kingdom of Kush was oppressed by Egypt for long. Then they eventually got independence and then conquered Egypt up north. The reason why this is important is because, well, they single-handedly conquered Egypt, which no one can say they have done. Maybe except for the Ottomans eventually, but we won't get into that. There's also the colonial forces. You could technically say that they're ones that conquered Egypt, but again, even more of a thing we ain't gonna get into. I have a gripe of colonialism, so let's talk about it. I've already talked about it a lot in previous times. So yeah, let's just get out of here and go to the Great Zimbabwe. So this is where Great Zimbabwe used to be. Great Zimbabwe was a trading empire established in southern Africa that had a bunch of trade routes going in, and they traded a bunch of stuff like ivory, gold, and so much other things. It's really speculative why they have collapsed, but there are some possible reasons. One of them being climate change, resource depletion, and many others. Oh yeah, I forgot about political instability. But yeah, these are some possible reasons why they could have collapsed. No one actually knows why the Great Zimbabwe collapsed. Maybe they collapsed because they were too great. I mean, who knows? But we all know this one thing. All empires collapse at one point or another. The Great Zimbabwe ain't an exception. And even though no one knows why it collapsed, it still collapsed, staying true to the whole argument there. When one empire falls, another empire rises. Like the British Empire did fall. But in the end, there are some countries that might pretty much hold empire status here. This includes countries like the Soviet Union, which that did predate British collapse. However, the Soviets collapsed in 1991, so really it's still no exception to the empire rule. And the United States, I would say, is kind of an empire, with not even a regular empire at that, more like an economical empire. Still, though, even that's collapsing slowly. It's not it hasn't collapsed completely yet, but you see that it's starting to wane down. All empires collapse eventually. The United States is actually starting to fall off. So what I'm saying is, all empires collapse eventually, and the Great Zimbabwe is no exception. Let's look at our final little exhibit in this project. Islam, the expansion of Islam in Northern Africa. Okay, so I got sent to the mapping universe, huh? Okay, this is weird. And there's not a lot of maps from those times, but I think I can work with this. So this is the middle. This is around 1450 BC. We're ignoring these two, but we're gonna look here, 1450. We have Egypt over here, which yeah. And then there's two other sections here. I don't know if those are puppet states or not, but this is Egypt. This was Egypt back in the day. And see, Northern Africa wasn't really relatively discovered at this time. We're gonna hop to 117. We have the Romans, who then went into the rest of Northern Africa. Conquered Egypt too. This is the Roman Empire. I don't know if this. I think Islam didn't really go in until. Yeah, no, I wasn't here though, because this isn't really what I think of it. There was a lot of stuff here, but I don't even think this is the map. Let's see. 1590? Oh yeah, here we go. This is the Ottoman Empire. This is like, I believe, like, no, it definitely, like, Islam spread to Northern Africa before then, I know that, but the Ottomans were pretty Islamic, and they expanded upon Northern Africa. This was pretty much an example of how Islam expanded as Northern Africa adopts it, not because of the Ottomans, but because, like, the Islamic Caliphate came in too. Then we hop into 1618, and yeah, we still have them owned in Northern Africa. Let's hop to 1622. Yup. Sometimes I wonder the difference between these maps, because I'm not. There might be more changes somewhere in this. How about 1683? Oh yeah, there we go. Algeria kind of looks a little more puppeted here. Yeah. And then this area. And I believe around the 1800s is when the Ottomans start to push back. Just, yeah, here's 1775. We go to the United States. They're under British colonialism. Spain is, yeah, the French were kicked out. But going back, that's what it looked like. Yeah, that sounds right. But then, by this point, the United States has declared independence from Britain, and they were really restricted to these areas. The Ottomans were kicked out of Crimea at this point, too. Then, 1812, this is when the Napoleonic Wars happen. And then the Louisiana Purchase eventually happens. Like, at this point, no? Okay, well, whatever. I don't know what I missed there. Yeah. French are beat back, though. This looks right. And then we go to 1848. we see the Ottomans begin to collapse here. As Algeria was given to France. And then Greece right here, this is Greece. That happened. And then it gets beaten back pretty much. How long does it take? 1900. Yeah, we're starting to see it happen. 1912, that's when... That's, I think 1912... No. 1914... Yeah, we're starting to see it, yep. Then 1930 happened, and, the frick happened to, World War One as a whole? Oh wait, these were pretty much the borders before World War One. And then we go to 1930, and that's, like, about what World War II borders look like. Okay, anyway, we're getting off track. What I'm saying is that the reason why the Islamic Empire spread into... The reason why Islam spread into Northern Africa is because of, like, the Islamic Caliphate, pretty much. There is no map of it, unfortunately. But this is what I could find. And so, yeah. Now let's hop back to my universe.